let's go with Dan Bongholio. So, first of all, let me just say that as many of you know, Bongholio blocked me on Twitter like a real man. And he also, but Unfiltered, the show, won't or can't or doesn't, or that's policy, I think. Hi. Love you. Do you mind pulling my door shut so the cats don't come in? I'm tied to my desk. When you get a second. No rush. And do I smell pierogies? She went and got pierogies. Summer is her family's Czech, by the way. So there's a pierogi place that she was driving by that she's wanting to go into for a long time, and so she stopped by. Anyway, so the long story short, that's why I will be eating a fistful of pierogies on the Have Pierogies Will Travel. How many sudden pierogi? How many like Dirty Harry movies and or Clint Eastwood movies in general can we name after pierogies? Okay, so what I was saying was, you guys know that this. I haven't watched this video. I'm gonna watch this with you, but you guys have to know by now that this image will trigger me. This will set me the F off. This will the other thing that will set me off is when you use the smoothing filter a little too much and you make yourself look like you're made out of marzipan. Look, not everybody has time to get on makeup before they come in the studio. I understand that. Sometimes maybe he's borrowing one of Laura Ingraham's cameras, but god damn, he looks like he was buffed. I don't understand. Maybe it's temporary. Maybe this is just a low res response, but good Lord. Saha's watching on 4 monitors as you do. All right, here we go. And yeah, there we go. It's his fish oil. Too much Botox? I don't think it's Botox. I think it's digital because I don't think he bothers with Botox. Although maybe he does. I wouldn't doubt it. You know what? I take that back. That wouldn't surprise me. As a comedian, I can't do it because I have to be able to make. I believe at heart all comedians must be rubber-faced gits. So here you go. What's the difference? What is the difference between America and China? It's the same thing. There's no difference. There's no difference. You jackass.
It's easy to criticize China because they are a totalitarian state,
right? Oh, thanks, babe.
I bought a bunch.
But I'll just have 2 because it would be a... yes. What kind are these?
There's a sauerkraut potato and then a potato and cheddar.
And a what cheddar?
Potato.
Oh, okay. This was... I'm going to go with... We don't know which one this is, but I'm very excited to find out.
One sauerkraut. Well, they're both potato, one sauerkraut, one's cheese.
This one's cheese. This is the cheese one. Excuse me. It's lovely. Very cheesy. Cheesier than even I expected. Are they the same? Are they both the same? Yeah.
No, that one's sauerkraut and potato.
Oh, okay. So one of them.
That one's sauerkraut.
I got one of each.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing will be my grandmother's, but this is a little, family-owned shop, so it's close. We're going to get into
all the more reason to support them. Yep. Yeah. It's ASMR. I'm not chewing. Knock it off, you pervs. I'm having 2 pierogies, and you guys lose your goddamn minds. It's disgusting. Yeah. That one I like. That's sauerkraut and potato. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Thank you, my love.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to the gym after eating all those potatoes.
What?
Now I'm going to the gym after eating.
It's nice. I'm chewing. Chewing with my mouth closed. God damn it. All right. Don't usually eat on stream, but that's the rare occasion that I do. And it was nice because we got to look at this dipshit's face. And yes, it is absolutely a filter. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Right? They have zero COVID policies, strict government
Right.
isolation, enforcement, abuse of surveillance powers, almost no individual rights at all, and really harsh social standards. But then you say to yourself, wait.
Wait a minute. What's the difference? Wait a minute. Don't we basically have that? All right, let's just start with, if this motherfucker came on a Chinese television show and shit on the president, shit on Xi Jinping the way he shit on the president, and clamored for the return of Deng Xiaoping, or like any like fucking Mao Zedong for that matter, he'd be in jail by the end of the broadcast.
Wait, who are we talking about here? We talking about China.
Hold on, he's a little quiet, so I'm trying to bring it up a touch. We're talking about China. Hold on, I'm gonna bring myself down so you can bring yourself. Everybody can bring their side up a little bit if they have it. Okay, here we go. Whoops. Oh, I emptied the. Okay.
Or the liberal version of the United States.
The liberal version of the United States, asshole. The liberal version of the United States is what brought you all those rights. We all live in a liberal democracy. Liberal with a lowercase L, or I would argue a capital L, is the system under which we live. There's liberal and conservative within our system, but the system itself is fucking liberal.
Because if you actually put the two side by side, like here's China, here's the United States, this weird thing happens. They start to look alike.
No, they fucking do not.
So we're going to ask tonight, is there a difference? We always bring the facts to back it up. So first, I saw this headline in the Wall Street
I saw a headline. So a headline, that's a fact.
Journal this week.
I saw it in the Wall Street Journal opinion. We always bring the facts. That's why I will be quoting the Wall Street Journal opinion page that says the West, not the United States, not a liberal United States, the West mimics Mao, takes great leap forward. Now, this is going to be, I mean, we know the Great Reset, right? Is that this is Helen Raleigh? I got to find this thing now. Hold on. But I don't have a subscription to Wall Street Journal, and I'm not going to get one, so fuck it. Let's see.
My eyeball. It was titled "The West."
It caught my eyeball. Wait a second. Back the fuck up.
To back it up. So first, I saw this headline in the Wall Street Journal this week. Caught my eyeball.
It caught his eyeball. It caught my eye. Doesn't catch your whole fucking eyeball. It doesn't have a fish hook in it. What do you? Oh God. I'm convinced a lot of these Fox News hosts are new to Earth. Maybe this is where the baby milkshake eating alien thing comes from. Caught my eyeball. Shut the fuck up.
It was titled "The West Mimics Mao and Takes a Great Leap Forward."
Yeah, and it's obviously a fact. I mean, how many more facts do you need? It's facts all over the fucking place. Don't pay any attention to the fact that Rupert Murdoch owns this newspaper and his broadcast, and his facts, the facts he referenced are opinion pieces from a co-owned media outlet.
Well, here's a little quick history lesson for.
Okay. Oh boy. Look at this. Is the United States on the communist fast track? I can skip to the end. No. Man and wife. No. We are absolutely fucking not.
The libs out there. You know, Mao Zedong, we got to be slow for the libs here. You know,
asshole, if your idea is that the liberals are all fucking communists, then why do you have to slow down and explain who Mao Zedong is for him, you fuckhead?
He was the communist leader of China. And in the late 50s, he imposed some harsh government rules on the Chinese people.
Bro, they were so harsh. Harsh. He was harshing the mellow of the 50 million people he starved to death and the destruction of all the civil and religious symbols within the society.
People in businesses to build industrial power. Top-down rules sounds like communism and stuff. Strict quotas on farms.
First of all, top-down rule is how corporate structures operate. Almost all hierarchies work that way, shithead.
Farmers and all this other stuff. Well, the result, yeah, it was what happens every
The result was he died of complications from syphilis.
time of communism. Communism, by the way, has a 100% success record. It does. Dan, how dare you say it does? Of failing. It fails every time it's tried. It's amazing. Well, their big government control experiment in Mao's China blew it. The numbers were faked. And scholars will tell you that tens of millions of people.
Hold still. You're in the tiny little frame. Stop leaning back and forth. Secondly, he does realize he's walking into a rake because the libs, the Dems, just passed an infrastructure bill.
Tens of millions, not tens, not million, tens of millions of people starved to death.
Yeah, 50 million, I just said.
It was called the Great Leap Forward. They love these euphemism games, don't they, in these word games? It was actually a great leap right.
Oh, you mean like commitment to America or contract with America or America first or make America great again or tag keep America great? Yeah, we're all about the fucking bumper stickers, buddy.
Into the grave for tens of millions of people. So that article I was just referencing in a journal compared China
Yeah, did you read it or did somebody else?
back then with the liberal version of the United States now, where they want
Which is fucking lunacy, and it's behind a paywall, so...
to take us. One of the hallmarks of the current Chinese regime is propaganda. Where the
What do you mean current? Let me show you something. Hold on. Current? Motherfucker, have you ever seen these things? What do you mean current? You can buy Mao's Little Red Book in every market in the country. Current. Oh, green leap forward? Right.
the government spins a fact to say one thing when everybody knows you're lying.
Oh, you mean like Trump signed the VA Choice Act of 2014?
And then the people are forced to accept the facts?
Which in this case, nobody does.
It's not just that people are walking across the border. We have a plan in place.
Today,
Again, all right, that's the whole thing. It's not just that people are walking across the border. That was in relation to a question of them walking across untested and going straight to wherever they want, as if there's no Customs and Border Patrol, there's no facilities, there's no testing, there's no system at all, which is a lie. People don't just traipse across there, and we have CPB going to the areas where they can walk through and rounding them up. It's like the fentanyl thing. They're like every time there's a huge fentanyl bust, they're like, look at all this fentanyl. Like, yeah, asshole, we're catching it.
received news that our economy had 0% inflation in the month of July.
Right, which is true in the month of July, year over year. Did not expand, did not contract. It was static.
0%.
Which is true. Again, he's like, spitting facts. It's a fact that July had 0% inflation. Growth. Year over year was static from the month before.
Border is secure. The border, we are working to make the border more secure.
He finds that funny. China's social credit, this business is China's social credit system ranks citizens and punishes them with throttled internet speeds and flight bans if the Communist Party deems them. If they get deemed. There's room for another sentence down there. If they get deemed, maybe you should have just since you're taking out a whole sentence, why don't you take out the E and just make it dems them? By the way, that article was from Christmas Eve on 2021.
Guys,
I learned how to talk on screen from Don Jr.
lying or propaganda? What is it? Again, what's the difference? Chinese.
There's a huge difference. There was no growth in the inflation rate year over year. It was static from June into July. The problem we had previously was it was continuing to climb. They took actions that steadied it, and now the idea is that eventually you start bringing it down. That's how you control these things, unless you want to just throw the car into reverse on the fucking highway and get everyone killed. That's people are not just randomly walking through coughing COVID all over everyone, and they're not bothered. The question was even about like Americans have to get tested, but for some things still in government jobs, but immigrants come across without any like that bullshit. Like, no, they don't. And the other thing was they were taking people like the children that were being flown to Catholic charities and stuff, that they're coming in with COVID and not being tested. It's just garbage. That said, let's see. Business Insider. There's no. Let's see if that's. Yeah, here it is. This is the actual art. Deems them untrustworthy. That's the whole. China's social credit system ranks citizens, punishes them with throttled internet speeds and flight bans if the Communist Party deems them untrustworthy. Yeah, this has been a talking point for years. Like the Laowai and Laowai 86 and Serpent ZA have been talking about this shit for years. This is not new. China's been rolling out a system that ranks its citizens based on their social credit. People get punished if they drive badly, buy too many video games, steal. Those are all in the same category. I'm doomed. It's not a unified nationwide system, but China plans on eventually making it mandatory for everyone. Yeah, it's basically a way of creating like public jail for everyone, like minor limitations. You lose yard time.
The Communist Party does the same thing. You're just forced to believe it. What about the China social credit?
You're not forced to fucking believe it. You're sitting here telling people not to believe it. That means no one is forced to believe it. The fact that he's fucking criticizing these phrases means it's not the same thing. The government has always said things that people either think are lying or find suspect. And we as Americans have always been able to call bullshit on it without any legal ramifications. None. Unless you're trying to sell ivermectin or fucking, like tell people to put a kumquat up their ass instead of getting vaccinated.
Credit score. You know about that one?
Yes, I do.
Where people in this communist regime.
Wait, first of all, can I just enjoy this asshole's description of everything? Like his like Dummy for Dummies Act is one of the best in the business.
Get graded on their obedience to the Communist Party if they.
No, it's not their obedience to the Communist Party. It is their social behavior. It's everything from if they're drunk and in public or whatever. It's meant to be literally a social interaction score. It's basically so they can start compartmentalizing in an artificially free society. They've got too many trains, too many buses, and they're too cheap, essentially, and you can get everywhere. It is that a lot of the people make asses out of themselves in public. And so they try to find a way to like broom everybody out, especially when, and there's a lot of like app related stuff on this, especially if there's dignitaries around or foreigners there, so they can save face as a country without having, drunks and low-end thieves and shitty people roaming around. They can use that as an excuse to broom them out. It's like giving everybody a ticket for being an asshole. In which case, again, if we lived in that kind of system, this motherfucker would be buried in tickets.
They score.
And so would I.
Or low, you're in trouble. You live as a second-class citizen.
No, everyone there lives as a second-class citizen, dummy. That you would live as a fifth-class citizen. Everyone in China is a second-class citizen. You don't believe me? Ask Jack Ma. Jack Ma is one of the richest men in the world and can't leave the fucking country. There's no such thing. You're not a billionaire if you can't take your money out of the goddamn country.
Subjugated to the needs and wants of the state, which are never good.
especially when they make you put on the zipper hood.
They can't buy what they want. They can't go where they want. They can't worship where they want.
Nobody can worship where they want. It's an atheistic country, stupid.
Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it?
No, it does not at all.
Well, just this week, we learned PayPal refused to do business. This is here, by the way, in the United States, not in China, with groups that don't toe the liberal political line, calling them.
That's not a government organization, fucko, at all. The government did not order PayPal to do that. PayPal did that because of their own choice. They're either corporate decisions or their decisions for their customer base. They were afraid that more customers would stop using their service if they allowed this. They do it to fucking like OnlyFans accounts and shit like that. Visa does that to OnlyFans accounts too. The government didn't do this, you fucking moron. As a matter of fact, in China, the government you wouldn't be able to do these, wouldn't have done them in the first place. You would not have had access to these, paying systems in the first place if you went against the Communist Party line story, the narrative. You never would, much less getting fucking removed. And they would have ordered it. PayPal made this decision on their fucking own. Biden didn't tell them to do this. Karine Jean-Pierre didn't announce that all companies from this point forward will remove anyone that's gender critical from their paywall. What the fuck?
Their actions, hate speech, of course. Means everything these days. Hate speech. Anything's hate speech.
No, it isn't. Hate speech is a retroactive look back at someone after their hateful behavior, specifically. And this is not about, like, they have corporate issues with hate speech as PayPal because they're trying to reach as many fucking people as possible. And I got news for you. This decision has very little to do with the United States. This decision has a lot to do with them doing business in Europe. Because like England and some of the other European states have way harsher rules about this kind of stuff for a company.
So people are frozen out of the financial bloodlines of society. Sounds like China.
No, it doesn't. You have a myriad of options in this particular case. There's only one, and they shut you down. There are a lot of corporations. All right. This asshole, oh man, this asshole thinks that because a restaurant or a store can have a sign that says we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone, that store is basically communist China. And this asshole is supposed to be a conservative. This guy's supposed to be a Republican. This is supposed to be, they're the freedom ones, right? So if any business says, we'll do business with anybody unless you're awful, in which case, fuck off. They have the right to do that. The government is not making them do that. That is the essential difference. And that is one of the biggest reasons why Bongino over here constantly wins the moron award.
Because they don't worship liberal narratives. Again, folks.
No. It's not about the liberal narrative in this particular case. Whoever they were bumping off, they were using a nice soft word, gender critical. I'm going to guess they were anti-trans bigots. And that's why citing hate speech. So these specific organizations, all of them, did they remove all gender critical organizations from platforms? I would argue, do they even know of all the gender critical organizations? Or did they just broom the ones that said, stop trans agenda now, that kind of shit?
What's the difference?
The difference is in China, the government forces these companies to do it and they have no option. And in this case, you cherry picked one company making a corporate decision about what kind of customers it wants. It's an enormous fucking difference. And you have to live a pampered fucking life to not be able to spot it.
China, liberal U.S., China, what's the difference? Am I
Fuck.
missing something?
Yes, you're missing brain cells. You are missing synapses. You're missing critical thinking. You are laboriously stupid. God damn this. Yes. Yes. PayPal is not the PLA.
No, I'm not, or else I wouldn't put it in a monologue. What
Yes, you would. You say stupid shit all the time.
about China's zero COVID policy? Someone tests positive, they're forced to isolate for weeks, can't see the family, every move's tracked and monitored. Until the government clears them, of course, and then they have to get a special QR code to access society again, to eat and live and stuff. Now, compare that to the left's COVID policies. Here in New York, you had to get the vaccine, even keep your job. You had to show proof of a jab to eat at a restaurant.
Vaccine passports would
Temporarily.
be a form of ID to gain.
Temporarily. Also, the government did not come. Hold on. Let's see where we go. Let's see. Should go to. Here's you want to see the fucking difference? You want to see the fucking difference? Hold on. Here's the difference. Here's the difference. You want to go eat at a restaurant in a city during the fucking pandemic at the height of it. Here you go. Here's the difference. I'm going to show you this. This is a woman being pinned on the ground by the authorities and forcibly tested for COVID. Yeah. That you never saw any of that shit. Let's see. Where's the hold on. Let me I'm going to grab one more just to hammer this point home. Zero COVID China. Yeah. So
COVID lockdown, Shanghai style. 26 million people, by some measures the biggest city in the world, confined to their homes. But breaking through the silence.
we're basically the same. This is exactly the same experience. What's the difference? What's the difference? The difference. Control your soul's desire for freedom. I mean, who else didn't have a drone flying around telling you to control your soul's desire for freedom? Do not open the window or sing.
There have been desperate complaints of shortages of food, water, and medicines.
Yeah, it's basically just like America right now. Like, you can't order anything that I wish I had the QAnon music playing behind me. The shelves are bare. Your packages are not showing up. Yeah.
Delivery networks and growing protests. Public services are in chaos. One sick American, rather than being allowed to go home to isolate, was instructed to bed down on the ground outside a full hospital.
Look, I've been sleeping on the ground. Man, our lockdowns are just a little different, When they say that you're locked down, there's no going outside, there's no opening your doors. It's, you just kind of do as you're told.
It's not just Shanghai. Across China, some 23 cities and 200 million people are under full or partial lockdown. And that's all having a severe impact on the massive Chinese.
By the way, I've been to the Bund a few times. That's what this area is. And again, this is there are several times, except at the most like touristy times of the day, when this is as many people as I'll see. And this is supposed to be a city with 26 million people.
Economy. The Wuhan lockdown at the start of the pandemic in 2020 led to a historic collapse in economic activity in China.
Basically the same thing. Guys, what's the difference? You had to have a thing to go to a thing. Liberal media mocked resistance to COVID passports.
entry to certain businesses or cultural events.
Welcome to the world of vaccine passports, which I think are a great and simple way to show that you're immune from corona.
The right would have you believe that a vaccine passport is effectively Big Brother coming for you and your family. And it just isn't.
The right-wing talking machine always has a boogeyman. And yesterday, they started complaining about vaccine passports.
What's the difference?
Okay, so the vaccine passports, again, temporary and don't exist. None of us have them. Some people have to show proof of vaccination for certain jobs, and certain businesses are still hanging on to that, but it is not a citywide, statewide, or federal insistence. If a business wants to have a vaccine passport for like a concert because they want to be able to have the same concert goers next year instead of a fifth of them being dead, that's the difference.
Okay, am I missing something?
Yes. Yes. I think it's the connective tissue between the two halves of your brain.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference?
You think your kids are free? You know, last year, China
Yes, my kid is free.
monitored and restricted how much kids can game online. Regardless of your feelings about that,
No, they didn't monitor it. They limited it. They didn't check. They stopped you. They have control over the actual software.
I don't want the government telling me what I can do.
Why and how China is drastically limiting online gaming for under 18s. Yeah, we know. This is from last year.
But get a load of this. Here in the United States, the DHS is spending big bucks to study how to monitor online gamers.
What's the difference? What's the difference? Well, one is the government stopping you from gaming, and the other one is the Department of Homeland Security checking to make sure that that foreigners aren't using it as a way to recruit incels for murder plots. All right, hold on. Vice News. When is this? September 16th. DHS just spent almost $700,000, which, I mean, as government programs go. Let's see. Whoops. Back up. Radicalization. Yeah, here we go. December 16th, 2022. Okay. So this is investigating radicalization again. Several groups are coming together to study the little understood phenomenon, which is one of my favorite Disney films, by the way. The Little Understood Phenomenon. Over the past decade, video games have increasingly become focal points of social activity and identity creation for adolescents and young adults. Relationships made and fostered within game ecosystems routinely cross over into the real world and are impactful parts of local communities. Many of people know that there was a period where you could not, if you got into a chat room on especially Call of Duty or GTA, you would be just constantly pelted with the N word, the F word for gay people, and the K word for Jews, like all the fucking time, nonstop. Which, by the way, on the one hand, normalizes that kind of shitty behavior. In a time when young guys in particular are not in the company of their parents. They are on these, chats or gaming with a headphone on, with headphones on or headset, and their parents don't know what they're hearing. They're constantly interacting with these folks. This is, anybody who gamed like in the last decade knows this. And they've done a lot of work to try and, curtail some of that in the gaming industry. Just the gamers, like just setting a standard, being able to ban people, just like social media. They just didn't have any of those protections in social media. If anything, ask me for a final countdown, Sin. It's the final countdown. Where are we? 16 minutes. We're going to be checking in. All right, here we go. Correspondent, extremists have used video games and targeted video game communities for activities ranging from propaganda creation to terrorist mobilization and training. The money is going to a joint venture between Middlebury's Institute Center on Terrorism, Extremism, and Counterterrorism, Take This, which is a nonprofit specializing in mental health and video gaming, and Logically, a company attempting to solve the problem of bad online behavior at scale. The project will seek to develop a set of best practices and centralized resources for monitoring and evaluation of extremist activities, as well as a series of training workshops for the monitoring, detection, and prevention of extremist exploitation in gaming spaces for community managers, multiplayer designers, lore developers, mechanics designers, and trust and safety professionals. This is just adult shit. This is just adult shit. It's just adult shit. This is what you do when you fucking adult.
Looking for, quote, extreme or radical behaviors. There's that hate speech thing again. So I'll ask you again for, I don't know, the fourth time, third time, lost count. What's the difference?
Okay, the difference is a study because ISIS and other groups are radicalizing teenagers in the United States using online communication, which is not wholly unmonitored for the most part in the gaming space, because they know it pumps right into the ear holes of 15-year-old incel-ready boys. And it is a study to kind of manage it and see how we can help or stop that kind of stuff. And the Chinese government is literally turning your computer off at their whim, you dumb son of a bitch.
There's been some resistance, including with cryptocurrencies, which are meant to be free of government control.
Uh-huh.
Of course.
Yes. Conservative resistance. Yeah, that's what it is. The same assholes. I mean, look at it. It's gold. It's real money. It's got to be real money. It's not a grift at all.
Of course, China totally banned cryptocurrency last year, but here in the U.S., in order to ban something, in a supposedly free society, they got to control it first. The second largest digital currency, known as Ethereum, you heard of this?
Yes.
Adopted the World Economic Forum's strict environmental standards, and the SEC all of a sudden declared control over its network. Then there's Treasury
Wait. If it aligned itself with the Great Reset and the Green New Deal, and the Security and Exchange Commission went after it anyways,
Secretary Yellen,
it's almost as if they're trying to create a standard in a Wild West system that is gutting people's pockets.
She wants government regulation of cryptocurrencies.
Motherfucker, you want government regulation of women's wombs.
I'm stunned. To wait for it. Protect investors from the risks.
And we've seen this historically with private monies, and we invented a good regulatory framework.
Oh, not regulations. If we didn't have, the stupid government, we could have buildings like the ones that are the tofu dreg projects in China. Real quick, 1 second. There you go. What's the difference? How to create a cryptocurrency. I'll just make one. I'll just create my own. Let's see. Let's look at some of the methods. Let's see. I could do this. Make my own blockchain and native currency from that. I can modify the code of an existing blockchain. That's there's no regulations about it, so that's fine. I can establish a new cryptocurrency on an existing blockchain. Platforms like Ethereum blockchain are designed to host cryptocurrencies of many different developers. Here you go. Here's the dApps page. Ethereum-powered tools and services. Get some ETH. Set up a wallet. Ready? Do it. Few dApps. Uniswap, Dark Forest, pull together these. Okay. Invest in culture, buy, trade, and sell unique digital artwork, fashion, some incredible artists, musicians. This is all the NFT shit. Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't just trust this. It's got a website. Come on.
I think for dealing with this.
I need protection from the government. Forget about the crypto thing. I'm good. I'm good.
I guarantee he's lost a shit ton of money in crypto in the last little bit.
And speaking of
law enforcement weaponization. Oh, this is going to go to the FBI serving a legal search warrant and going through all the steps and responding to the judge. All right.
Resistance. China's long weaponized law enforcement. We know that against its citizens. That's obvious. It even puts dissenters in mental institutions, imprison Uyghurs. Yeah, but here in the U.S., the left has been using the FBI to do similar type things like spy on private Facebook messages, target parents as domestic terrorists.
No, target domestic terrorists, even though they are parents. You don't get a pass just because you got kids.
And raid the homes in an unprecedented manner of the political opposition.
Not a home, a rental property.
So again, I don't know, 5-6 times now? What's the difference, folks?
Well, the difference is, A, you're on a television show in said country bitching about it and nothing is happening to you. 2, everything you pointed out in the last segment, especially about law enforcement, has several checks and balances where the person can push back and is, by the way, innocent until proven guilty and has every legal recourse available to them that everyone else has. They don't have to be party affiliated or close to the administration to get a lawyer, to get the ability to file against stuff, to have the multiple courts see their shit. So it's wholly unlike it. You privileged fuck.
Folks, listen, you know I've been first in line to defend the working men and women of the FBI.
No, you haven't.
A lot of the patriots out there, some of them speaking out now, who do their job and do it right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's clear.
It's not.
The FBI is now completely at the command of the Democrat Party at this management level, and a lot of this is filtered down.
No. The law applies to everyone. For a while, essentially, it was I guess Trump had a cork in the dam that was going to break, and it just rotted away when he left office.
And they've done it to demonize and criminally target any dissenting opposition.
No, because you are dissenting opposition. He's a fucking investor in Parler and Rumble. He's been on all these platforms. He does nothing but talk this shit all the time. And if they were targeting every dissenter out there, he'd have been arrested by now. This is clown school bullshit. This is annoying. He's just like a fucking child. And all this is, I mean, it boiled it down to its essential garbage. This is just a segment to shit on the United States. This is not a, oh my God, China's bad. This is, you know what? China's, terrible, and so is the United States. It's unpatriotic and it's awful. And that, I use those words specifically because that's the cloak he hides underneath. He does nothing but shit on the United States of America all the time. We're going to DART. It's 7 minutes and 45 seconds. Oh, look, there it is. There's that's our guy, and that's the actual asteroid. His skin is too tight. We're getting close. 7.5 minutes. I'm very excited. I think that's all he says. I think it goes to break after this.
Thankfully, our resistance to that tyranny is growing.
Growing, yes. This is This is a pirate broadcast. Before they shut us down. They live. Put on the sunglasses. Get the fuck out of here. You're on $1 billion network.
The patriots are starting to speak out.
They've always had the right to speak out. And I question that word and how you use it. I'm having a very Princess Bride reaction when he says patriot these days.